Good morning, lovely ones. So, how are you this morning? How are you doing? Yeah, I feel quite raw this morning actually. So, I'm just gonna take a deep breath. So, it's my commitment to show up every day, during the week when I can, to do these lives. So that's my commitment. My commitment is to really deeply do the work that I'm here to do, and that's to show up and support sensitive women who really want to bring more of their joy and compassion into their lives, into their relationships, into their world, and also feel more intimacy and more connection and more abundance. So that's my commitment now, is to show up every day and do this series, which I'm loving. And then this morning I've had a bit of a raw moment. So I was like, well, should I still do it or shall I not do it? Shall I not do the live because I'm feeling a little bit wobbly? And then I realised actually this is all what it's about. It's totally about showing up 100% as ourselves. You know, the training that I'm going to do on Monday is all about showing up as yourself, 100% owning your sensitivity, you know, really realising what a superpower that is. So as you join me this morning, say hello, let me know you're here, and we're gonna be sharing some good stuff this morning. But yeah, the training on Monday is all about this. It's all about like, how do you show up 100% as yourself, owning all of that, like the good, the bad, the ugly, and how do you find a way of being more than okay with that. So for me, I very much I've been sharing about how we have to really look after our emotional well-being. So that means really knowing how to look after ourselves so that we don't find ourselves feeling burnt out or frustrated because we're so overwhelmed by our emotions and by what happens to us. And also for me, it's what I really want to support you know, other sensitive heart-led women with is still finding that courageous lion-hearted place within you, where even where you've been hurt before, you've been disappointed before, or something's really fucked up in the past, it's still about showing up 100% as you, and still bringing all of you to your world, to the work that you're doing, to your family life. So that leads really beautifully to today's theme, which I actually did do this a few days ago, but I had my little one with me when I was doing it, and he was playing at the same time, so it was only a few minutes, and this is such a juicy topic that I kind of wanted to do this again to give it the credit that it really deserves. And you know, if you're watching this on live or on replay and you're not a mum, it doesn't matter, because so much of this applies to other areas of your life. So I'm going to be jamming about being a sensitive mama, but if you're not a mum, you're not a mama, you're not a man, you're not a mother, it doesn't matter, because so much of this applies to all areas of your life. And it's really about, you know, how you bring all of yourself to everything that you do, and how you don't try and pretend or shove certain elements down in order to be like normal, or to be, you know, to try and fit into somebody else's definition of what you should be as a mom, as a employee, as a business owner, as a partner, you know, as whatever. Like, it's so important that, you know, you embrace your sensitive superpower, to know that you create the role, and you show up in that role in the way that is right for you. So I'm going to be talking a bit about that today. So hey Michelle, lovely to have you here with me, darling. So for me, I've learned like shitloads since I've become a mum. And when I was pregnant, I was really worried actually when I was pregnant about how I would really manage my emotions as a mum, like how I would manage those times where I felt vulnerable, how I would manage, like, you know, how I would manage all of that with the role of being a mum and being responsible for somebody else's well-being. And during the period of me being pregnant, you know, I'd already done quite a lot of work before I got pregnant. I'd done a lot of inner work, I'd done a lot of personal development. I was very far on with my self-connection, By that I mean like my connection to my higher self. But I still had a journey to go, and I still have a journey to go now, right? We're all on this path, and it's always about learning and relearning and going deeper with it. So yeah, you know, I feel like I'm at a certain point now, but I know that I'll look back in 18 months time, I'll look back and I'll be like, wow, you know, like what a difference. And that's cool. So as you're joining me, say hey, let me know you're here, and let me know what resonates with you. So as I say, this doesn't necessarily mean that this doesn't just apply to being a mum. Like what I'm going to talk about applies to any area. When you're a sensitive woman, this applies to any area in your life where you really want to show up as yourself and be 100% authentic and manage your emotional well-being so that you feel supported. So for me, it's about, when I was pregnant, it was really about kind of getting to a place of releasing and surrendering, I guess, some of that control over like how I would have to act and show up as a mum. And actually, then when I had Arthur and I learned about being a mum, like so much was happening with that you know, that the journey really for me has been, as a sensitive woman, like and a mum, how do I let go of a bit more control? How can I let go of a bit more of control over like how I think this has to look, how I think this relationship has to look, how I think I have to be as a mum? Because it's really easy, and let me know if you resonate. When you've had a little one, the first few months are like you're in this kind of crazy haze, and you are watching what everyone else is doing, other mums that you know. You are really like kind of, there is a bit of like, am I doing this right? You know, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? And for me, actually, the more I get into being a mum, the more I'm getting closer to listening to even deeper to my intuition as a mum and trusting that, because a lot of that has been taken away, or we've allowed it to be taken away from us. So I feel like now I'm in a place where I'm really like, okay, I'm feeling like I'm much more empowered and educated as a sensitive, heart-led woman who is a mum. Like how do I bring a deeper level of understanding to who I am as a mum? So for me, it's like, I've got big goals and big dreams. I love my work. I love my work so much. I love my work so much that when I was pregnant and I went on my maternity leave, which was 3 weeks before Arthur was due, I cried, because so much of me, my identity, was wrapped up and tied up with my work and my business. And of course, you know, I understand and I appreciate that I bring all of me to everything I do. So now it's not like I'm a mum and then I've got a business. I'm a mum and then I do some work. I'm bringing all of that. It's like this kind of beautiful dance across all areas. So why being a sensitive woman as a mum sucks? And that's because you really do feel things in such a deep level, and that is a plus, which I'll talk about. But in the sense of like, I'm so aware of how other people talk to Arthur. I'm so aware of his experiences, and what really inspired me to move away from that kind of feeling, that kind of sense of responsibility, I guess, for all of his experiences. I got some really great advice early on, which was like, you know, on his journey, he's going to meet loads of different people, and he's going to experience lots of different people's opinions and attitudes and experiences, and I can't be wrapping him up in this bubble to try and stop him from having those life experiences. And I don't know if any of you have read Brené Brown, but I absolutely love Brené Brown, and she did an interview, I think, where she was talking about this idea that, you know, it's not our responsibility as parents to really protect our child from the world, like, because actually it's about us showing our child that they can be themselves in the world that is around them. So I really like this. I really like to check in when I'm like noticing and feeling a little bit of like, oh, I don't like how so and so said that to him, or I don't like this, or don't like that, just really checking in and taking a deep breath and going, I'm seeing this through my filters as a sensitive person, right? I'm seeing this through my stories and my shit that happened to me when I was younger. And this is Arthur's experiences, which are completely different. And instead, I really strive to be there to be able to support him in having his experiences. Now, of course, that sounds beautiful, but when I'm in that moment, it doesn't always work that way. So I also have to really practice loving kindness and forgiveness. And that is like, it all boils down to loving kindness. It really boils down to how loving and kind you can be to yourself when you do show up in a way that you don't want to as a mum. Because then you look at it from the flip side, and the incredible gifts that you bring to yourself as a sensitive woman who has a little one or little ones. Like, you bring yourself so many gifts of like awareness and compassion towards yourself. You can really show yourself all of that, but that comes when you have done the work. That comes when you really do have that close connection with yourself, and you do have a practice that supports you. And I'll talk more about this on Monday because I'm going to be sharing about how vulnerability is your best friend. But in order to get to that place, you have to have done a lot of work, and you have to be in that space of being prepared to continue to do the work every day to look after your emotional well-being. So there's so many parts of it that for me, I love, like my sensitivity and my empathy as a mum, because I really feel like I can, like on the flip side of it sucking, like I cannot feel what Arthur's feeling. So it gives me this insight and this ability when I can be unattached to the outcomes, what I've just been saying, about not trying to control his life experiences. When I can be that unattached witness, who's still coming from a heart place, and I hope that makes sense. And what I mean is, like, you're able to feel empathy, you're able to feel what that other person's feeling. In this instance, I'm talking about Arthur, but you've looked after your emotional well-being, and you have a practice that allows you to take a step back and be the witness, and really then look at, right, well, in my role as a mum here, like, how do I need to facilitate this for Arthur? And a lot of it for me is learning how to be that unattached witness and allow myself to be guided by him. And again, if you're a former control freak like me, then that's like, oh my gosh, this is real work. This is really like a lot where the learning takes place. So there's so many things that to me rock about it, because you're there and you have this commitment to be engaged and to show up, and and also something that's really worked for me is just being able to talk to Arthur, because I work now at processing my emotions, at like understanding what the triggers are, and which again I'll go into more detail on Monday's training about, is knowing where I'm at in my cycle, so that I can understand that there will be certain times that I feel more ratty or irritable or more tired, and I can say to Arthur, like, Mummy's in her autumn right now, which is the lead up to my period. So I've been a bit ratty because of this, and it's not making excuses, but it's being empowered to be able to have a conversation, an open dialogue, and that's important to me. Because if I'm taking ownership of being who I am, I want to also have that dialogue with Arthur so that he can be able to understand and ask questions as well about that. And ultimately, for me, it's him seeing me as an empowered woman who has all aspects, who has her good days and her bad days, but who is engaged and present, so that I can be there for myself and for Arthur as well. So I hope that this kind of resonated with you, and I hope that this gives you some support or some inspiration for where you're at. And as I say, on Monday at 2 p.m, I'm going to go really deep into this whole arena of how we can be really like empowered and in love with our sensitivity and understand where our superpower is within that, to bring that into these incredible relationships with our wee ones, with our family, with our work, with our personal relationship, into our community and into the world around us. And from that, we are allowing and bringing in such a deep level of intimacy and abundance and joy. So I can't wait. I'm going to share so much awesome nuggets on Monday in the training. If you can make it live, do that, because I'm going to be doing a prize draw. So everybody who's with me live will be entered into a prize draw, and you will win. One person will win a one-to-one VIP Skype session with me. And if you can't watch it live for whatever reason, there will be a replay. I'll post a link, and make sure you sign up for that and get the information of how to join me. And have a beautiful day, and I will see you soon. Lots of love.